Disclaimer, this is a topic that goes way deeper than the depth I am diving into in this video. This video is not a breakdown of Jacksonville gang politics. In this video, my plan is just to take an overall look at Fulio's legacy and comment on what I feel led to his downfall. Thanks, I hope you enjoy. Charles Jones, better known by his stage name, Julio Foolio, was a popular figure in the Jacksonville drill scene who is well known for his ultra-disrespectful lyrics and his constant gang feuds and beefs. Fulio's early life was plagued with death and despair, as growing up in hilltop apartments in one of the most dangerous blocks in all of Jacksonville, he'd be exposed to many things a child should never be exposed to.
Okay, so what part of Jacksonville did you grow up in?
The north side, 1646 West 45th Street, Hilltop Village Apartments. It's like the worst hood in Jacksonville, like literally the worst hood, Hilltop Village Apartments.
Okay, when you say it's the worst hood, what does that mean exactly?
Like killings, shootings, prostitution, drugs, like whatever, like anything you don't supposed to see, you gonna see it.
In 2009, when Fulio was 12, he would end up seeing his friend's mom get shot in front of them. This was the first encounter Fulio had with gun violence, at least in the way he saw it directly. He would go on to say this was the first time he realized death was real and could happen to anyone.
It was so crazy. I was so close to my dog at the time. I'm watching him cry, like, and then I'm seeing her lay down on the steps. She lift her arm straight up. She like, I'm shot. I'm like, this is really going on. You feel me? That night, like, that just fucked my mind up. That just showed me, like, cause you know when you a kid, you don't think death real. That showed me that death is real. Like.
In 2011, when Fulio was only 13, his dad would end up getting into an altercation with someone who would later return to shoot him. From what Fulio would go on to say in later interviews, his father was well respected on his block, and he was kind of taken into the gang life off his father's name at first.
My daddy was thugging, like his name Rick the Ruler, like he ran his block, like the whole 21st of murder, like he ran that section, like that was his section. He from the north side too, but he from like another part of the north side. But my daddy ran this section, like he was a real big gangster, like yeah.
In Fulio's 9th grade year, he'd go on to lose his first close friend by the name of Aaron. This had a profound effect on Fulio and the rest of his friend group. They would go on to start a riot at the school the day of, and I believe this was the first time Fulio jumped into the streets fully. They had already been toting guns and beefing with rivals, but in Fulio's own words, they were still trying to do football and be productive. That promptly ended after Aaron's death, however.
And that shit sent me like full throttle in the streets, you know? Like it sent me like full throttle in the streets, like, and it's so crazy because we was still playing football then. Like we probably like, it was like probably like my 8th going to 9th grade, like that summer we was still playing for La Villa, a team called La Villa, but we was still toting guns at the football field, like, cause we was still into it with people, you know what I'm saying? So even with trying to change, we was still like going through shit, and then we just lost him. It was just all the way over with, like, it was all the way over with the football.
2 years after the shooting of his father, Fulio would be shot after getting off the school bus. Word is that the shooting was retaliation for jokes and trolling that Fulio did in response to a rival gang member's death. This was the first in many examples of Fulio's mouth getting him into big trouble, and the first real example of karma catching him.
That showed me like I gotta fully protect myself, like at all means, like that sent me like in the streets 24/7. I stopped going to school, like, cause I got shot getting out of school bus, so I can't go to school. They know where I'm at 24/7 now.
The gunshot wound took 5 months to recover from as it hit him in his hip. He would go on to drop out of school due to this incident, not through him wanting to do it per se, but it seems like the school no longer wanted him to attend post the shooting. At the age of 17, around Christmas, Fulio would catch his first real charge. Being dumb kids from the South, they were being rowdy and flashing guns at passing cars, and just being an overall nuisance when cops pulled up behind them. In Fulio's words, they took the cops on a 15-second car chase through the parking lot and was caught almost instantly. While he was a kid at the time, I think this shows off how reckless Fulio tends to be, and it led him to doing a month in juvie, which isn't that bad considering. Shortly after getting out of juvie, Fulio would go on to lose another friend by the name of Kendra. Kendra was shot by the police, and this led Fulio to delve more into music, paying respects to his dead friends, and dissing the ops, you know, usual Jacksonville antics. Fulio would go on to play at many local Jacksonville house parties for kind of free, like he was getting paid a little bit, but it's basically free, upping his face card in the city and getting a bigger following. Fulio's song Blessed would be his first real dive into the ultra disrespect that Fulio would be later known for. In this song, he disses rivals while putting their photos on the screen, whilst paying respect to his fallen homies and putting their pictures up too. It's very amateur feeling, but I think it gives a distinct grit that works really well with the song itself. Shortly after this, he would drop a song called Reach the Top, This would be the first of his songs to reach 700k views, and would be the catalyst for the rest of his career basically. Fulio would begin to start taking his career a lot more seriously after this, and begin to post more and more frequently. Other than back and forth on social media and high school gang drama, there isn't much to cover on Fulio's life until he's around 19. In 2015, Fulio would go on to drop his first mixtape titled Make It Count. On the mixtape cover, Fulio would pay respects to 3 of his fallen friends, Johnny, Fonta, and Kendra. We already spoke on the first song to reach 700k views, but later in 2017, Fulio would go on to drop a song called Feel It, which became his first song to break 1 million views. Fulio's disrespectful lyrics and the Florida kind of drip and sauce gave rise to the Jacksonville drill scene. I'd argue he was the first I saw to be actively dissing the dead, and not saying he was about it, but he at least started the musical wave of disrespect that Jacksonville is now known for. At some time in 2018, Fulio would go on to move out of the city and move to Georgia, off Jacksonville being way too hot gang-wise to live safely. As a bonus, labels were starting to reach out to Fulio off of the Say Cheese Florida artist list that Say Cheese put out.
So Say Cheese posted that first Florida list and I was on it, so when he posted it, a lot of labels went to reaching out to me. Alamo, 300, like a lot of people went to reaching out to me, so I'm like, damn, I'm getting harassed by the police in Jacksonville. People already want to kill me. My best bet is to move to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? And try to network, be in studios, be around more artists.
From label talks, Fulio would go on to do a project with the famous producer Zaytoven, which is a really meaningful co-sign in the rap game, in my opinion. Zaytoven is basically Atlanta royalty with how many artists he put on from there. Even though he himself is from the Bay, I'll let it slide, I fuck with him. Fulio would go on to start dropping some of his music videos on WorldStar, which would also exponentially grow his music career, with songs like Voodoo still being some of my favorite tracks from him to this day. Problems would only really start to prop up due to Fulio's involvement in Jacksonville gang politics. Fulio has a long-standing beef with another artist that goes by the name of Youngin Ace. Throughout both of their careers, they've constantly gone back and forth on socials, dissing each other's dead homies, putting money on each other's heads, etc. This served to grow both of their careers around 2019-2020 with the release of the very disrespectful but very popular Youngin Ace song, Who I Smoke, which is currently sitting at 49 million views, and in response to that track, Fulio's When I See You got 46 million views. These 2 songs propelled the Jacksonville gang politics to the mainstream and would lead to a lot of issues down the line for both parties. In Who I Smoke, a prominent name mentioned is Bibby. This was the brother of Fulio who was chased down and executed by one of Ace's close members by the name of Queso. This would cause Fulio to make a song paying respects to Bibby and vowing revenge for how he was done in the song, Bibby Story. Though tragedies continued on both sides, the music kept gaining more and more popularity. What separates Fulio from his rivals is the amount of shit talk Fulio would spill. No matter what happened on either side, the first motherfucker to open his mouth would always be Fulio. Ace's drive-by shooting,
Them boy lost the Fortnite match. Still coming up, man. Cold summer alert, man. 2-3 pack, man. Ace pack.
every time anything happened to one of his ops, it doesn't matter if he stomped his toe, was shot, was fucking punched, was fucking robbed, Fulio would be the first to comment on it, would be the first to post about it, and would be the first to laugh about it. No matter what happened, no matter when it happened, no matter where it happened. Unsurprisingly, Fulio would go on to be constantly shot at. It felt like every few months a story would come out talking about Fulio was caught lacking, or Fulio got shot in his leg after his gun jammed, etc, etc, etc. No matter what happened to him, Fulio, for the life of him, couldn't stop mocking his hunters, which sadly led to the events of June 23rd, 2024. While celebrating his birthday in Tampa, Florida, Fulio would be caught lacking in the parking lot of the venue he was at. The worst would come to pass, and Fulio and 3 other people were shot, Fulio being the only one of them to pass away. The story behind what happened is still unfolding, but from what I've seen, a Tampa club promoter paid Fulio for a guest appearance, and Fulio accepted last minute. Said club promoter posted about Fulio coming to the club and even has IG stories of him arriving. I feel his enemies got notice of these posts and were just waiting for him to come out. Through little fault of her own, I feel like she posted him as a fan, not thinking about the consequences of exposing his location to the world, and it just so happened that the worst came to pass. Another theory that was popularized on Reddit is that Fulio's friend set him up, off Fulio's friend being close to some of Ace's people, namely Backstreet. I'm not going to lean either way because I feel like it doesn't ultimately matter Jesus Christ, I can't speak. Fulio's time has been ticking since the start of his career. You can't constantly make gang disses and diss the dead, get shot at and then mock the shooters, brag about how much money was on your head, without eventually slipping up and getting caught in the blind. Another thing to note that I saw in a comment, Fulio dying on the 23rd has a weird feeling to it, off how often he would mock Ace's dead friend 23. Him passing away on the 23rd just has like a karmic feeling to it, especially it being his birthday as well. It just feels off. But I'm reaching there, I can't prove that. I say all this to say, Fulio has made a career off of death. He should have been way more careful with who he hung around and how he moved. His recklessness cost him not only his life, but the lives of people closest to him. If you're going to learn anything from this video, either don't diss your dead ops, or fucking move like you're at war if you do diss your dead ops. If you like this video, please comment what you would like to see me to cover next. I'm interested in a lot of Southern drill culture, as well as a lot of YouTube shit and just gaming shit. I'll do whatever, just comment what you want to see. Hit the bell to be notified of my next upload, subscribe, peace out, chill out.